today's session, Front Desk Best Practices. You can already see Lynne. She's right there. Her little avatar is right under my avatar. Lynne will present Front Desk Best Practices today. We do expect this to go longer than an hour, so please do get yourself a cold drink, join us, and Lynne, please take it away.
Jan's going to give me a thumbs up. Right. I did tell Jan to give me an hour and a half for this session, but that, of course, is predicated on you guys actually participating. I also told her I didn't have any polls ready, but then I quickly shot together like 5 polls I'm going to throw into the live chat. So if anyone's out there, you can participate on the live chat via the polls. If there's nobody out there, it's all good because I've taught this to nobody before in the past, or variations of this to nobody in the past. So been there, done that. Let me make sure I am on the correct screen so I can move forward. All right. So as Jan said, while you are listening, feel free to add questions to the UC chat, the live session. I'm actually got that on the TV up there. You're going to see me look up every once in a while to the TV. So if you ask questions, I will see them. Aaron's going to be like, but I'm supposed to tell you. But sorry, Aaron, I multitask. And if you haven't register like Jan asked you to, so you can partake in the chat. So our goals are learning the importance of the front desk and best practices for your front desk. Of course, this is the world according to Lynne. But as some of you may know, I've been to a few dozens of offices in the past almost 30 years at PCC, and this is my takeaway. After all those years working with billers, I came up with I got to do something with the front desk because the billers were always like, the front desk doesn't do this. Of course, the front desk will say the billers don't do that. So this is my way of making sure your front desk is doing what it needs to do in order for them to help out what the billers are doing in the back. So quick overview of what we're going to talk about, the takeaway, our best practices at the front desk, things that should happen before the visit, things that happen during the visit, and then any oversight you should have with your front desk. And there should be oversight. You shouldn't just assume they're doing what they're supposed to. So what's the takeaway? Learning the importance of the front desk and best practices. People undervalue that front desk person, I feel, and truly the best front desk person is the one that's going to make your life easier, whether you're a provider, a nurse at May, clinical staff, or you are in the back office, because they're going to be able to deal with those situations at the front desk instead of having to call you. And they are the face of the practice. So we want to make sure that you're treating them well. All right. So goals for the front desk: great customer service, generating a clean claim from a demographic standpoint, increasing the time of service payments, which leads to the following: reducing the amount of collections after the visit, and keeping them busy. They should be staying busy at that front desk. All right. First impressions count. If this is your front desk, that's horrible. I'm hoping nobody has a front desk like this, because this is an old-time bank teller system. But yeah, this is an us versus them atmosphere. I'm going to show you some other examples. Windows, anyone has talked to me in the past or heard this talk, I hate Windows. Absolutely can't stand Windows at the front desk. I feel it's a barrier between the patient and your staff, and it does make an us versus them situation, because they're waiting behind the glass. HIPAA never said to put in glass. Germs don't respect the glass. So if you have glass, consider just getting rid of it, because yeah, I don't like it. So here are some layouts for desks. I absolutely love front desks. Tamalpais Pediatrics is on the left side, and Eden Park Pediatrics is on the right. Eden Park's the first office I actually saw this set up at, and I absolutely loved it. I love that the parent would just come and sit in the desk and talk to the front desk person. They don't even have to stand. But it's very open and welcoming, as opposed to the barrier, which to me is not an open, welcoming situation at all. So I know constructions takes time and it's a pain, and maybe your reception areas are going to go away post COVID-19 if we ever get to that point. But if you have a check-in, try to get it to be a little more open for both your staff and your parents. So front desk, first thing they should be doing is they should be greeting patients immediately. That's the number one job at the front desk. Again, they are the face of your practice. The first time somebody walks in is they see that front desk. And if they do not, the parent patient does not get acknowledged, does not get helped pretty immediately. Remember, this is a fast food society. We want it and we want it now. Those parents are going to remember that you didn't help them as quickly as you should. As I said, I've been to a lot of offices and done a lot of go lives on the system, and nothing is more awkward as a PCC staff member at a go live than the front desk being empty and people walking in, patients walking in and parents. And then you're just kind of standing there saying, yeah, I'm the computer company. Somebody will be with you as soon as they're done. And I have no idea what they're doing. Not that I would say that, but you got to wonder what they're doing, especially on a go live, not being at the front desk. Anyway, greeting patients immediately. That's their first number one goal. And they should be working as a team, help each other with overflow. If somebody's crazy busy doing check-in, maybe something happened and they got to go out back. I used to say to find a chart, but that's not hopefully necessary for the majority of you. But sometimes they just have to leave the front desk area. There should be somebody there to help out with that overflow so the parents and the patients aren't waiting to do check-in. Now, of course, what are we faced with now? We're faced with COVID-19 and check in. There's no greeting patients because they're not really coming in the door like that anymore. But your staff should still be calling them and do the check in process. So as we go through this entire session, by the way, keep in mind that you may be doing this over the phone, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't still be doing all of what you're doing. You're just using a different medium versus face to face in that situation. All right. Excuse me. So one of the things you should be doing is, and this may be good time to do it, move phone triage away from the front desk. You should be allowing that front desk to focus on verifying the demographics, the insurance, the collecting money, collecting past due balances. When your front desk is split between, I got to answer the phone now because we have a 3-ring policy and then we get fired if we don't answer it. Okay, that's not the policy, but I'm not a fan of the 3-ring policy because I do feel it takes away from the front desk, because the front desk is part of that 3-ring policy. And if they're helping someone at the front desk, they have to step away to answer the phone. So I like the phones being taken away from the front desk. I have 2 clients that followed my advice. It's very exciting for them. One of them did it right before their go live, literally the week before they moved the phones, incoming calls going to a back office. That person was then also tasked with updating demographic forms for all the patients as they came in based on what didn't come over properly in the data conversion. So they did it. The front desk person was allowed to learn the system and focus on doing what they needed to do. The other client didn't do it right away. They did it about a month after their go live, but they took the phones. They had another area of their office that they could move the phone to. And I talked to the provider, and the front desk was absolutely ecstatic that they no longer had to answer the phones, and they can focus on the people coming into the office. So it's a big thing for me. Get those phones away from the front desk because it's just is not good customer service. It's okay customer service, but it's not great customer service. Use your phone system to appropriately route your calls. I should just not try to repeat what it says on the screen. So you got 10 buttons on the phone, technically 12 if you include those other 2. Use that to appropriately route calls. If they want to leave the nurse a message, have it go there. Billing, have it go there. Give them options to go someplace instead of it immediately necessarily ringing to a person. Now, don't be a bank. Don't be an airline. Don't make them go down a tree, further and further down a phone tree. So they're hitting like 4 numbers before they get who they need to get to. Try to use all those numbers on that keypad to get to where you need to do. Figure out what your top 5 things are. Put those on it, because again, you don't want them to have to wait for you to explain what the first 8 keys are before they get to what they want to do. So try to make it quick. So if they do have to listen to everything to get key number 8, that's where they're going. Figure out who's getting the most phone calls, and those should be the first ones that are in your menu. For staff on phones, use a cordless headset. I keep using a corded headset for these trainings and all the Zoom meetings that we're doing, and I sometimes forget it's corded, which is not good for me, the headset or the laptop. So we use them at PCC. I can't say enough about how wonderful it is to have a cordless headset. It lets you to move around. You don't need to be at your desk to answer the phone. I had a client in Florida. You guys probably heard this story. Who uh, they used the kind that had the cables that they had to remember to disconnect before they walked away from their desk. So I convinced the provider to get the cordless headsets. They did it. Told her have them try it out for at least a month, maybe 2 months, and then you would reevaluate how it was going. Called her back a couple weeks later. No, they stopped using them. Why did they stop using them? Not because they didn't work, but because it messed with their hair. So I was like, there's different types of cordless headsets. They don't have to go over the head like my headphones do right here. You can just get over the ear, the ones behind the neck. And she had them tried again, and a couple of them actually ended up using it. Funny story, I went back last year, I believe, and said hi. And she has like almost all new front desk staff, and they're all younger front desk staff. And every single one of them uses a cordless headset and couldn't imagine being stuck on a phone. I can't tell you how much my neck hurts when I go to a client's office and I see them doing this with a phone. I don't know how they don't have huge chiropractic uh, expenses with that. It's just not good for their neck. All right. So get them using a cordless headset. They cost money, no doubt about it. For those of you, if anyone is watching, if you love your cordless headset, shout out on the live chat um, for everyone to see how awesome they are. I would shout out, but that would take going up there and typing. Answering the phones. I think I've trained you guys pretty well on this. I don't get so much of this anymore. Pediatric associates, hold please. Click. Um, Used to be the pet peeve, still a pet peeve. I still hear it at new practices. But as we evolve, it's getting better. But try this. No matter what you're doing, if you're not doing this example, think about it. Thank you for calling Pediatric Associates. This is Lynn. How may I help you? I had a provider in Connecticut told me she heard this at her primary care provider and absolutely loved it, brought it back to her office and had her front desk staff using that. So it's great. You're thanking them. They could be calling your competition. They could be going to urgent care. So you're thanking them. You're reminding them who they're calling. You're telling them your name because there's a connection. When there's a name, there's a connection. And then you're asking how to help. So that's if you guys aren't using something like that, try to change. It takes a while to learn something new. So, don't expect your staff to catch on to it instantly. Just keep reminding them. This is how we answer the phone. Call them sometimes, see how they answer the phone. Or just walk by the front desk, whoever's answering the phone, see how they're doing it. All right. Discuss significant billing issues in private. So we don't want to discuss, excuse me, significant things at the front desk. It's not appropriate. That's one of those HIPAA things. Bring them, to the back. Either have a billing staff with an office near the front or have them work by the front desk. They could be doing checkout. They could be doing posting charges for self-pay. They're there to answer any questions for the front desk. Still have a practice in Florida, still doing this. I asked because they watched, I did a presentation like this that wasn't PCC specific a couple years ago, and she watched it, the billing manager. And she told me, and she's like, I missed something. Can you tell me what you did on this said on this slide? And I let her know what it was. And I was like, you still have your billers working at the front desk? And she's like, yep. And they still hate it. And I'm like, that's awesome. So your billing staff may hate it, but really it does help the front desk. I have other clients who do something slightly differently instead. You know how you have the visit statuses in the EHR? They have a visit status for billing, and they will put a patient into a room and the biller will go to the room to have that discussion. So if you don't have a biller close by that can sit at the front desk, because all your front desks are tiny, at least you can use that status to let them know that they need to go see this patient in the room before the MAs necessarily get to them, right? The other thing is Don't discuss other patients or parents at the front desk. That's the reason you have class, because you're talking about people when you shouldn't be talking about people. Okay. And it's not just the front desk. I'm not saying that. I've heard stories of providers coming up to the front desk and making completely inappropriate comments about parents. So it just shouldn't happen at the front desk. It shouldn't happen anywhere, but most especially not at the front desk, when eventually you might have people in your reception area again. Eventually, I know a lot of you don't have anyone in that reception area right now, but unless you plan on getting rid of your reception area, time's going to come where it comes back. All right. Okay. So before the visit, here's the big processes used prior to when a patient comes in will impact the quality of your claims, increase time of service payments, and help produce the amount of collections needed. In short, the front end functions drive the revenue cycle. What does that mean? That means that your front desk is doing a lot to help your billers. Okay. So make sure you give that front desk all the help they can get, because um, as much as they do, again, it just saves so much for your back end process. So things that happen before the visit. All right, we are scheduling. We're doing some appointment verification. We're doing some eligibility. We're doing eligibility using partner. Not sure why I said that. Probably because I forgot to change that to the EHR. And we're going to talk about some prep the billing department can do to help out your staff. All right. Now, when you're scheduling, used to be I used to say, in a Lynne perfect world, this would happen when scheduling. Guess what? In a COVID-19 world, this should be happening. I don't think my Lynne perfect world was supposed to be a pandemic, though. But anyway, when you're scheduling, you definitely now, especially if you're doing telemedicine visits, it's so much better if you can do this ahead of time for same day visits when you're on the phone. Verify their demographics. Make sure you get their updated insurance. We're going to talk about how they can send that to you. And update everything right from the scheduling screen. When you're using the appointment book, you have the patient details. You can edit and update everything. Review their copay and their personal balances. Let them know why they have that balance. You can see the CART codes and that details, the encounter details. We'll see an example of that in a little while. All right, so all this should now be happening when you're scheduling an appointment, specifically, especially those telemed appointments where you're not going to be seeing them check in. So if you can do them when you're scheduling the appointment, especially same day appointments, that saves a step when their appointment actually happens, because then you don't have to call them to do it again. So do it during the scheduling process for those telemed visits. All right. So, oh, look, it's the appointment book. So here is the appointment book and the patient details. Now, if anyone has not messed with their patient details format, you can do that. It's a protocol thing. If you have access to the protocol configuration tool, one of the options is the appointment book patient details, and you can go ahead and put this in whatever order you would like them to appear in. I have a certain order that, I'm not going to lie, I've set up the new clients to do it in a certain order because I feel some information really needs to be seen first when this appointment book details pops up on your screen. One of them is the account balances. I want them to be able to see that there's an outstanding balance pretty quickly on the appointment details. All right, so you can see, let me jump back. There's a slide that explains it, but for the appointment details, you can see their appointment history. If they're calling for a well visit, it looks like Rudy's got like 4 18-month well visits. So his mom, Jan, probably should not schedule him for another one. I'm just saying they have too many as it is. So this allows you to review if they're scheduling for a well visit or even a sick visit or a consult, that they don't already have that appointment in the schedule. Then you want to go through a reschedule process, not a schedule process to have 2 appointments on the books. We see the account balances, and then we have the demographics. There's an edit button at the bottom that allows you to edit all of that information. And you will see the insurance information and the personal balances. So that's all going to be available when you are scheduling a patient. Now, if those patient detail doesn't pop up for you automatically, because it is a practice-wide preference, there's always a patient details button. Once you get the patient up on the left side I did not take a screenshot of this. On the left side, there's the patient details right underneath the appointment notes. So if it doesn't pop up and you need it to, you can always click on the button to have that pop up. Now, for a new patient process, um, again, with the COVID-19 and telemedicine, not that you can do new patients with telemedicine, but for new patients, consider collecting that insurance information over the phone. You're going to have to do it over the phone anyway, right? So um, one of the cool things you can do is have them send you a snapshot of their insurance cards. How many insurance cards are available through their phone app anyway? Maybe they can just email your practice that insurance card so you can see it and update their information. Again, use the patient details to add that policy information. They're not going to have a balance. I don't know why I have that there. They're a new patient, but do remind them to bring their insurance card and their copay. So when you get those new patients, you may be filling out a little more information than you were used to, because it makes sense now to do that potentially before the appointment is made, as opposed to waiting for them to come into the office. Um, I say that because they're not, hopefully, potentially, they're not checking in actually at your front desk. They're checking in over the phone in their car. All right. So appointment verification. Oh, wait. I feel like I had a question for this, a poll, but I don't. So I'm going to skip ahead. Manual versus automated reminders. That's just something you guys need to determine. I'm not saying one is good, one is bad. What I am saying is be in the same place as your patients, your parents. If you have millennials, what they want is very different than what a baby boomer wants. Okay. I had a practice in Oklahoma. The office manager went and did a survey, said, I really want to find out how. This was years ago. How our patients want to get their reminders, their appointment reminders. The survey was pretty overwhelming that they wanted texts. She brought that to the physicians who were older physicians, and the physicians said, no, no, you really, I would want a phone call. So we're going to continue doing phone calls. That's not being in the same place as your patients. If your patients want a text, you should be texting them. Okay. So be in the same place. Use that information, track it in the system. So you know, do they want a text? Do they want a phone call? If you do have people that actually do want phone calls, then make that happen. Um, and my mom would want a phone call, even if it's an automated phone call. She wants a phone call for a reminder because she doesn't know how to read text on her phone. So be where your patients are, your parents are. Don't be where you are. It's not about you. It's about your patients. All right. Things you're verifying during that reminder, whether it's automated or not, the date, time, potentially the visit reason, depends how non-specific it is. The insurance plan, this is if you're actually calling them. The insurance plan, the subscriber start and end dates. If you're not calling them, what you're going to do is you're going to remind them, bring your insurance card, bring your expected copay. And hey, by the way, you have an outstanding personal balance. If you have an outstanding personal balance, make sure that's going to be due when you come in the office. So all of those things are reminders you can put into any automated messages that you send out. Okay. So eligibility. I do have a poll for this, and this is where we're going to see if anyone's actually watching. And I'm going to let you on the video just wonder if I get a response, because I might just make something up. So how far out are you guys doing eligibility? That's my poll. Now, in partner and in the EHR, the eligibility program automatically sends out overnight for all active plans, primary, secondary. If there's a tertiary, yep, it's all good. It's all going out automatically, as long as we obviously participate with that plan. So you should be using that information. You can, excuse me, by the way, you can do this in the EHR. And if you're doing it in partner, consider moving over to the EHR and starting to do it in the EHR, because it's prettier in the EHR. Yeah, that's a valid reason to use it. Has all the functionality. It's actually cooler because it has color, so you can see green active, red inactive. Just makes it easier for your eyes pop right to that red and say, what's going on? Ooh, I have people watching because I have votes. All right, so make sure when you're doing that, you're updating the policy information. So seeing it's active isn't good enough. All right. Again, not in the Lynne perfect world. It's not good enough. You want to check the copay, because if the copay is not correct, and I'm assuming you're doing this eligibility ahead of time, either the day before, early morning of the same day, 2 days out, whatever. You're not doing it when they walk in the door. If their copay has changed and you can update it the day before, that saves your check-in staff that much work, okay? Because it's already been updated and all they have to do is move on through the process. Use notes for the front desk to let them know what needs to happen. If their policy has expired, call them. Use your phone. Call them and say, hey, your insurance policy appears to be expired. Do you have a new insurance? Get that updated information. Have them, this is what I'm going to talk to you about, the awesome patient portal. Have them take pictures of their insurance card front and back and send you a portal message. Create a template saying updated insurance information, where all they need to do is it'll say, hey, we have updated policy, blah, blah, blah. And you can either ask for them to type in their insurance ID, or the template can just say, please take a photo of the front and back of your insurance card, attach it to this message, and just email it to us. Boom, done. Okay. Patient Portal has awesome templates. Take advantage of it to get that information. If you can get that policy, that card, it's a point of contact. If they're handing you a card at the check-in desk, ew, we don't know where it's been. So it allows them to just upload information instead. So make sure you're doing, trying to get that information ahead of time. I might have jumped ahead of myself talking about that, but that's okay. All right. Move ahead. There we go. Now, billing. Wait. I didn't end my poll. Let me go up and end my poll. Boom. There's only 5 votes, so at least I have 5 people watching me. Whew. So I have one office, I'm not going to say who, checking it same day. I've got 3 offices doing it 2 days out, and 1 office doing it more than 2 days out. I'm just going to say, if you guys know, Medicaid, you can't check that far out. Some plans won't let you check that far out. I tested every once in a while. I think, and then the last time I tested wouldn't let you check more than 5 days out. Medicaid, obviously, the end of the month, it's not going to let you check. Medicaid's a pain because you have to do it the same day on the first of the month, or at least most Medicaids. All right, so billing department, here's something you need to do if you're not already doing it. Make sure your front desk understands a whole bunch of stuff. What plans do you accept? If you have a bunch of Medicaids that you accept and then there's 2 or 3 you don't accept, they need to know that. And they need to know that really well. So when that new patient calls for an appointment, or if they're scheduling an appointment, and they should be asking, what insurance do you have? If it's an insurance you don't accept, they can say, I'm sorry, we don't take that insurance. And they don't walk into the office and say, oh, I'm sorry, we don't take that insurance. It's not good for anyone if you wait until they walk in the office to let them know. So make sure they know all about which plans. If you sign a new contract, one of those Medicaid plans, let them know again so they know. I feel like that's probably the, most plans that you're already going to be contracted with, but those Medicaid plans, especially, they change every year. Make sure they know which one. They should know the financial policy. And if you're asking yourself, what financial policy? Okay, that's step 1, create a financial policy. We have resources out there to help you with that. But your front desk should know it. So when a parent has a question, why did I get charged this? What do you mean I'm getting charged for this form that you need to fill out today because I need it yesterday? And why does it cost so much? They should know the answer to that. They should know the financial policy. Not only that, the provider should know the financial policy, and the provider should back up the financial policy and not undermine the financial policy by saying, oh no, we won't charge you for that form right now. Okay. All right. Outstanding balances, make sure they know how. Um, okay, I have a client texting me and I can read it on my phone. That's not nice, Dr. Schaefer, or on my watch. Make sure they know how to find outstanding balances. I'm going to show you, this is so easy in the EHR, and it explains everything in the EHR. If you're still using Partner, just stop it. Stop it right now, at least for your front desk. And yeah, she did break me. I didn't break her during her session, so this isn't fair. Have a daily huddle between the front desk and billing staff to discuss appointments that day. If you guys aren't doing a daily huddle, do it. It doesn't have to be first thing in the morning. It could be right before lunch. I mean, one's a quote unquote slow time for your front desk after everyone's checked in for the morning, or after everyone's checked in the evening, or first thing in the morning before the phones are turned over or patients start coming in the door. Discuss who's coming in, outstanding balances, what you need to do about it. If the biller needs to come up and to talk to someone, make sure the staff knows, the front desk staff knows. Any insurance issues, newborns coming in. If you guys have anything else that you do with a daily huddle, go ahead and throw it in the live session so everybody can see those questions. I know a lot of offices do daily huddles for clinical staff. Not enough of you do daily huddles for front desk and billing staff. This is my new shtick. I've done it the last couple of years. If you take away anything from this session, take away the daily huddle for your front desk and billing staff. For those of you using a billing service, I'm sure they'd be happy to sit in on a call. You can do a Zoom meeting because everyone's using Zoom today, and do a discussion. And I would suggest if your billing staff is offsite, do a Zoom meeting, do some sort of video meeting. Don't do a phone call. It's not the same. Take it from someone who worked from home for 20 years before moving back to Vermont. The video makes it much more I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it makes much more interactive. There we go. Phone calls, it just doesn't do the same. All right. I think Julie's writing something, but I'm gonna have to. Sorry, Julie. I'll get to your comment as soon as I see it. All right. Other thing, create a guide to educate patients. Educate your patients about insurance responsibility, and make sure the front desk knows it inside and out. See, I didn't say front back, I said inside and out. So they can answer any questions the parent might have when they're looking at that guide. We had a session on this, I believe, a few years ago that Jan and Tim taught. There's probably still a presentation on it in learn.pcc.com because we don't throw things away. Well, we do, but this isn't, software related, so we can still talk about it. So do that. They don't understand all those acronyms that we see day in and day out, and we just know the acronyms because we live those acronyms. CCOF, HSA, HDHP, PPO. I wanted to say something else, but I won't. We're going to keep moving on here. All right. Okay, so Julie from I almost said El Paso. Oh my God, East Portland Pediatric Clinic has a note in live chat. I'm going to share with you guys. We put notes in the eligibility tool so that during the reminder call 2 days before, other issues can be addressed at the same time, like insurance has termed. That's awesome. So it's there. So whoever's doing the manual reminders knows to look at that and share that information with the parent. That's fantastic. That's a great idea. Love it. All right. So we're going to talk about same day visits. And we are still scheduling, you're still verifying, you're still doing reminders of what they need to bring in. You're just not calling them. Again, in the age of COVID-19, definitely verify and update demographic information for those same day visits. I know it's going to take a long time, potentially. Sorry, my throat is really dry. I think I'm doing the John Canning and talking too fast. I know it takes longer to schedule an appointment when you're updating the demographics, but it's going to make the check-in process a lot easier, especially if you're doing check-in over the phone. Just seriously consider doing that. Eligibility, as soon as you make a same-day appointment, whether it's in the appointment book or that archaic thing we called SAM, it automatically sends out an eligibility request if possible. So you'll be able to see that information. And you can also check online and via the phone. Truly eligibility, if you guys aren't doing eligibility checks, you're giving yourself a lot of work on the back end because people aren't eligible. Not to say insurance companies won't suck away the eligibility and say, no, we meant they weren't eligible, so give us our money back. But at least you put a good faith effort into getting that information ahead of time. All right. So it's today. Yay. And the patient's in. So I'm looking up at my other monitor. Actually, it's a big TV because I'm going to cut and paste into the live session. Another poll because, I love doing interactive polls. So I'm kind of stalling as you guys take a look at that. All right, so we're going to talk about the check-in process, the checkout process, which is or is not posting charges and clean claims and what your front desk can do for that. All right, need to be in here to do that. Okay, so I use check-in. Number one reason, you can read this quote. This I haven't asked Justin in a while, but every year when I've asked Justin, so what's the one reason my claims get denied? Yeah, demographics typically. It's not the weird stuff. It's you didn't get the subscriber ID correct, you got the wrong insurance company, or the address is wrong, or date of birth, something. So demographics is still, to my knowledge, number one. And that's right here. Simply reviewing the information um, would prevent a lot of billing errors. And this is a quote from 2016. It's 2020. This is still true in 2020. It was true in 2010. This is never going to go away. If you can do the review of information before it generates a billing error, you're going to save yourself a lot of time down the road, dealing with the fallout from not reviewing information. That's why I kind of want you guys to check things before they walk in the door. So it makes the check-in process a lot smoother, and there's a little less to do at that front desk when they're checking in. All right. So if you guys, aren't using the EHR or check-in, I'm going to end the poll because I got 5 votes again, so it's probably the same people. I'm hoping everyone here is saying, yes, we use 100% in the EHR. Yes, rock on. Even some of the older clients I see are using 100% checking in the EHR. Believe it or not, we do have some clients that still use it in partner, aka practice management. Don't click on that schedule button. Your life's going to be so much easier by doing this EHR. We have moved over almost 100% of the functionality of the front desk into the EHR. And if you guys aren't putting your front desk in the EHR, you're doing them a disservice as well as yourself. All right. Patient check-in, like the patient details in the appointment book, is a protocol that you can update it. I've put it in, of course, Lynne order, the order I'd like to see it in. Um, in At the bottom of the EHR, I don't know if people have noticed this. There's previous and next buttons. Those literally, oops, did not mean to click there. Those literally move you from anchor to anchor to anchor to anchor. You probably don't use them because you're using the anchors or you're just scrolling down. That's fine, but they are there if you're used to the F function keys in partner that lets you jump from page to page. That kind of mimics that. All right. So, let's go back. What's number one? Appointment details. I'm not so worried about that. You know why they're coming in. But number two is portal users. Uh, Today, now, you need to get everyone on your portal. All right. You need them to be able to communicate with you on your portal. One, if you're doing telemedicine, it's where they're going to easily find a link to the telemed visit. If you want them to send you any documentation, AKA an insurance card, they need to be on the portal. If they want to be able to get forms, they need to be on the portal. Here's more importantly, if you want them to pay their copay, put them on the portal. They can make a copay payment on the portal before they even check in, right? What's the lesson learned? They should be on the portal. Okay. Get your people on the portal. That's why I like it number one on that check-in screen. Technically number two. So you can get everyone on the portal. And if you're not doing portal payments, you need to look into that and get that going because it's so much easier in the touchless society we are turning into, where we don't want to hand our credit cards over to people that will touch them. The portal payment is great. I know there are touchless credit card machines, but if you can get them used to paying copays on the portal, how much easier is it going to get them to pay balances on the portal? Okay, so portal, yay, go portal. All right, demographics. My typical spiel, this is not changed. I still walk into offices in here, has anything changed? Still one of my number one pet peeves. I have multiple number one pet peeves, by the way. I'm allowed to. So uh, has anything changed? No, if they're asking that, they need to be retrained. And too many offices tell me no, they're not. They don't ask that, Lynn. Of course not. I've trained them not to. And then I'm sitting there for an entire day while they're getting used to the new system during a go live, and I can hear them say, "Has anything changed?" So it still happens. Even the best front desk people still do it. I had a client earlier this year where we were actually in the office, one of the few go lives we did in client offices this year. And they had a really good front desk person, really good. She still asked this. And you need to train them, and you need to drill it in. Instead of you just asking them if anything's changed, your front desk should be saying, would you please verify your address? What is the best phone number to reach you at? Have them ask the parent to tell them what the information is. This is one of those HIPAA things. Well, we can't say too much at the front desk. That's why we need the window. Well, the window, first off, if you're talking to someone, the window's open anyway. Second, if they want to yell at you their best phone number to reach them at, that's their prerogative. They can yell all the information they want. If they're telling you the information, the onus isn't on you to be quiet, it's on them. And you will get people that will say quietly and others that won't. The other option is that demographics form. Some people have it printing once a year, some people have it printing a lot, like every visit. And you can just hand them that and highlight things that they should be checking each time to verify the phone numbers are correct, especially because you need a good phone number to get in touch with people. All right, so that's demographics. Insurance eligibility. This is where you see the response. You need to make sure the eligibility has been verified. And like Julie said, there's a note there. If you're using that note, your front desk needs to read that note and make sure they see it. Again, I harp on this. Sometimes it works online and it doesn't work through our system. So if the relationship to subscriber is incorrect, it is not going to work on our system because we have to give more information to the payer than you guys do, believe it or not, when you're checking online. So if we get something wrong that we're sending them that you don't have to type in, that's why um, it's failing in our system. But less and less is this an issue with our eligibility. It really does seem to work. If you have a payer that's not working, reach out to your client advocate or rapid response and see if you can get some help with that. So when you're at the check-in, you're verifying the insurance information. First off, you should be asking for that insurance card every time. Okay, you're not just using it. Yeah, I personally would like you to scan it every time. We'll get to that. But you want to look at it because, yes, they may have Aetna, but is the policyholder or ID number different than it was? We've had Blue Cross for many years at PCC, same ID number, and this year suddenly we have a new ID number. It's like, why did you have to do that? But they did. So make sure your staff is looking at the information and not just saying, yep, Blue Cross and handing it back. Okay. Make sure they check and make sure the copay hasn't changed. You gotta verify all that because again, they're collecting the wrong copay at check-in. Oh, the billers know it's a nightmare to deal with that when the payment comes in. All right, here we go with the account balances. This is another great use of color in the EHR. You'll only see red for the personal balance. You'll notice the insurance balance is black. The Medicaid balance would be black because that's on the insurance. You're not talking to them face to face or over the phone. You're talking to the patient. So you want to be able to see their balance, and there it is. And when they say, why do I have that balance? You're going to click on the encounters with outstanding personal balances, and you're going to get a breakdown. This is like the best thing ever because it's giving you not only the payments from the insurance company, but if we had a good example I could use, we would have cart codes. So you would see this went to deductible, this was co-insurance, this is an expected copay. You would see why it became a personal balance. Now that only works if the person posting payments is entering those cart codes. Auto PIP, the ERAs getting posted automatically, the cart code gets entered automatically. You don't have to worry about that. But if you're manually posting insurance payments and you aren't putting in why that became a personal balance, they're not going to get that information here on the screen. So unless you want them calling you saying, hey, biller in the back, why has this person got a balance? They're asking, and I don't see any cart codes. It's on the biller. Okay. So it's not on the front desk for not knowing. It's on the biller for not using cart codes appropriately when they're posting payments. So that's something to be aware of. Hopefully, you guys are all putting in your cart codes for those personal balances. Time of service payments, you're going to see that expected balance. Now, keep in mind, just like in partner, it shows you the visit reason. The system can't know whether there's a copay truly due until you post the charges, and that happens later. So this is a guess because it's an 18-month well visit that they're not going to pay a copay. All right. You could be wrong and it could turn into a sick visit and they should have paid a copay, but there's no way of knowing unless your front desk are mind readers. And then you should pay them more because they would always collect the correct amount every single time. Unless they're mind readers, definitely they won't be collecting the well visit copays. They should be looking at the visit reason and knowing whether or not they should be collecting that copay. Once they post that money, until they hit save, everything's in orange. Orange is like a state in the EHR that means something needs to be done. In this case, it wants you to click save payment. You guys have gotten used to that. And then you can print the receipt on the fly if you want it. All right. Now, make sure your staff is collecting the proper copay amount, sick versus well. Most wells shouldn't have a copay, but as we know, some insurance companies are tricky and are going back to getting copays during well visits. Uh, Collecting personal balances. How will you be paying your copay and or your balance today? They should be collecting that money. That's the job of the front desk, is to get that money. Your job, if you're the biller or the office manager, is to give them the tools to make sure they're comfortable asking for that money and explaining why that money is due. But it's their job to actually collect it. And if they're not, I think I'm skipping a slide ahead potentially. If they're not, they should be tracking why they're not collecting that money. Okay, it's not to penalize them. It's not to say you are bad and give them a slap on the wrist. It's to find out why, to help them role play and come up with a proper answer when a parent says they can't pay. All right. So by the way, if you tell them that they have an outstanding balance of $150 and they say, I can't pay $150 today, your response will be, how much will you pay today? Again, you're always going into your front desk, should be going into this thought process with, I'm getting money from this person. Yay, it's a sick visit. They have a balance. I'm going to get money from this person because that's my job. And they really need to go in with that attitude that it's their job to collect that money. Nothing annoys me worse. This is another one of my top number one pet peeves. Don't worry, we'll bill you for it. No, no, no. Wrong answer. We don't bill you for copays. They pay for those copays when they walk into the door. That's their responsibility. That's their contract with their insurance company. Right? No more of that front desk saying, and I still hear it every once in a while, we'll just send you a bill. No. I don't care if you have a third party biller. No. Your front desk should be collecting that money. All right. High deductible plans and HSA accounts still out there. Make sure your front desk knows how much they should be collecting. Should be a part of your financial policy. If someone has a high deductible plan, are you going to, by default, collect random number $75? That's a weird number. $100. That's clean cut. Are they going to collect that up front? Make sure they know. Make sure it's in your financial policy so your parents know. Okay. And make sure, again, your front desk needs to know your financial policy. Say, oh, yeah, you signed the financial policy. I can find it in our records and it should be a scanned document. And they can show it to the parent and say, yeah, see, you signed this. That's part of it here. Not to say that will make the parent want to pay anyway, but make it a policy, or even better, ta-da, credit cards on file. Oh wait, I have a poll for this. I'm gonna have to stop and pause for a moment while I grab this. So we talked to a handful of clients recently about credit cards on file. Well, not just this, the whole process of checking patients in and patient flow and how that's changed with COVID-19 and how they think that's going to affect changes in the future after this pandemic. Hopefully someday becomes a thing of the past once we get a vaccine. And one of the questions was, are you doing credit card on file already? If not, did you start it? And we had a couple offices that started it specifically because of COVID-19. Because again, that does that touchless thing. And people are more apt to now give you a credit card on file, it appears. We've had clients that have had less pushback about credit card on file during COVID-19 than other clients in the past when they switched over to credit card on file than they got. We used to have clients that got a lot of pushback about credit cards on file. Now it's like, oh yeah, take my credit card, keep it. Yes, absolutely. Now, It should be part of your financial policy if you're going to do credit cards on file. You should let them know that it is being tracked in a secure web service. Okay, either your bank, your merchant services, both of those should offer you the ability to store credit cards. Um, if you're using Blue Pay and Payment Pros, I know they do, and it allows you to just run balances, run their credit cards for their outstanding balances. The other option is I want to differentiate between credit card on file and the portal. Now, on the portal, parents can store their credit cards. You have no access to that information. Okay, that is just for the parent, so you can't use that to make balance payments on. You do need to get a separate credit card that you store someplace for those outstanding balances. If you're not doing credit card on file, it was the perfect time to do it. It probably still is the perfect time to do it because, again, I don't like handing my credit card over to anyone anymore. I want to use the touchless thing if possible. All right. And any of you putting your credit card in a file cabinet, stop it now and put it someplace where it's going to be secure. Partner, the EHR, is not secure. We do not follow banking guidelines. Okay, we follow HIPAA and high tech guidelines. We don't follow banking guidelines. Do not store credit card information in the HR. Do not scan in numbers. Do not put credit card numbers in the system. I can't say that enough. Credit cards don't belong in our system. You need to store them on the proper system, which is an online secure web service. Did I make that clear? I think I made that clear. All right. All right, here's the copays. Okay. I kind of alluded this to earlier. Have them track payments that aren't being made. Why? What excuses is the parent coming up with? Why are they not paying? And get them to, oh, wait, I didn't end my poll. That's okay. Only one person responded. That's sad. I'm gonna hold on. I gotta end the poll. One whole person says yes, they're doing credit card on file in their office. I've lost my audience. All right. So have the front desk staff track and consider a billing fee if the copay is not paid. It's their responsibility. Again, it's their responsibility to pay that copay. It's their contract with their insurance company. You didn't force them to pick an insurance company with a $75 copay. That was their choice, and they made that. Billing fee, you can always waive it if they pay it within 24 hours. It's got to be part of your financial policy. They have to sign off on it, but you need to find a way to encourage them to pay their copay appropriately. You don't want to spend money sending a bill out for a $25 copay or a $10 copay. Literally, you send two bills for a $10 copay and you've lost your money. What's the point at that? You might as well have written it off to begin with because you just threw your money away. So consider a billing fee. I'm on the wrong screen for my mouse to work here. All right. So they're checking out some things you want to talk to. No wasn't an option. Oh my God, that's funny, Julie. So the poll for who's doing credit card on file in the office, I didn't give you an option for no. So nobody said no. Oops, my bad. Sorry, Julie. So the other four must have been saying no. All right. So let's talk about scheduling. This is something I just want to talk about all the time. How far out is your schedule open? All right. I can't stand you guys that have a schedule open 3 months. It drives me absolutely crazy. Oh, if you have something else, pick the one that's closest to what you actually have. So if it's like 4 months, pick 3 months, something. I didn't put in every option there. It should be at least 13 months out. And here's why. If you have yearly physicals, first off, your dentist can do it for 6 months. You guys can do it for 13 months. If you have a well visit and they need to come back in a year, well, if you only have the schedule open 12 months, literally they can only come back in exactly a year. So what we want to do instead is we want to do it 13 months out. So if they just happen to know they're going to be on vacation next year, and they won't be around, then you have that option to give it out. A lot of our clients do this. It's not impossible to open your schedule that far out. Chip does a good talk about this talks about this in one of his sessions he's done in the past. Basically, providers take so many weeks a year. If they take those weeks on a quarterly basis, have them pick a random week on a quarterly basis. If they decide they're not taking that week, but they're taking a different week, guess what? You have a whole week to move appointments into. All right. The other thing is people say, well, nobody remembers a year out. Well, that's okay. Do a reminder call a month out or 2 months out. If you fill your schedule up pretty far out, do a reminder call to say, hey, you got a well visit coming up. Boom. Please call us if you won't be able to make this appointment and need to reschedule. You need to give them those options. Just send them out a reminder further out for those well visits that have been scheduled way long time ago. And you can set up Notify to do the smarts for that. That's just a matter of getting that done. All right. So I got a whole 3 votes this time. I'm not saying I'm counting or anything. So 1 vote for 3 months. Oh, Kathy, I'm sad. And you guys are in the same practice and you both voted for more than a year. I think that's kind of cheating, you guys. So I got 1 vote for 3 months. So technically 1 vote for more than a year. But more than a year. See, I can train them. Track your missed appointments. If you charge the missed appointment fee, is it the same for your sick and a well? It shouldn't be. What are you charging? I have so many people. Yeah, we charge $25 for a sick and $50 for a well. What do you get paid for a sick visit on average? Oh, yeah, like $75. And yet you're charging $25 because they missed it? No, the math doesn't add up there. Same with a well visit. Don't include your immunizations. But what are you getting paid for a well visit? And if they don't show up, you can't fill. They've missed it. You can't fill that time. You have lost income. Okay. Can't do this for Medicaid. We all know this. Okay, Beth, you both count. Can't do it for Medicaid, but for those people that are on commercial or even not on insurance. And this is tricky now because it's COVID-19. People are out of work. So, be aware of that. You may charge it, you may be adjusting them off. I would still suggest you charge it and you adjust it off. And if you want to get tricky and you want to know how much you're adjusting off, maybe you create a new payment type for missed appointment fee write-off. So you can literally check. I just thought up of that. I've never said that, I don't think, in the past doing this session. But maybe create an adjustment type so you charge it, but you can adjust it off so you can track how much you're adjusting off for those missed appointment fees. So yeah, it's iffy whether or not you should be doing missed appointment fees at this time. Same with the missed copay fee. All right, make sure it's part of your financial policy. Obviously, everything should be in your financial policy. And is anyone calling to reschedule the patient? If they missed the appointment, they had an appointment, they were coming in for a reason. The reason might go away. Maybe they were sick and they're feeling better, or they went to urgent care, which is bad, but there's a reason. Call them. That should be part of your standard operating procedure. Give them a call. Hey, you missed your appointment today. We want to make sure everything's okay, and we'd like to reschedule you for another time. Simple enough. Be proactive. Get that patient in. Now, more than ever, you don't want to lose out on that visit. And maybe they just need to have a telemed visit instead of an office visit. Wow, my brain wasn't working there for a minute. Okay, so account for all visits. Make sure at the end of the day they all say checked in, or they've all disappeared based on your filters. So that's just something to be aware of. Okay. Proving out payment reconciliation. Say we've changed our terminology, PCC. We don't stagnate. Throw this on the chat so we can get an answer. Each person takes money, needs to prove out. As I said, we try to get all of the front desk functionality into the EHR. There is a payment reconciliation report in the EHR. You can run it per user. You can create unique versions of the report and name them after each user if you like, or you can just train them how to pick their own name out of a list so they can do a payment reconciliation report in the EHR. It's pretty. I'm going to say that a lot. The EHR is pretty. It works the same as deposit. It's easier. They don't have to go into partner or practice management. If you've ever hired a new person at the front desk and they've had to go into practice management, you probably see them, probably get the willies and stuff like, oh my God, what is this? So use that payment reconciliation report in the EHR. But everyone should prove out their own money. It's not the biller's job. It's not the practice administrator, the office manager job. It's not the doctor's job. It is a person taking the money. It's their job. And the payments they have got to match what they put in the computer. Did it go live within the past year? Front desk person was they were approving it at the end of the day, and they had 3 people at the front desk, and 2 of them having a little issues trying to figure it out, and one of them just finishes, and I'm like, that's so cool. And then one of the ones that's having issues, we realized it's because the person who left on time mostly had posted something using their login, their computer. So the numbers were off. How did that person prove out? Well, I don't know. I told the biller who was responsible for compiling it, well, she's going to have problems. Well, not only did she have that problem, but when we looked at the cash she had in her envelope and compared it to the cash in the computer, they didn't match. She didn't even count her money. So she literally ran the report, looked at, I don't even know if she looked at totals, considered herself done, and just walked away. She was new to the practice. I'll give her that. She had only been working there for about a week. So maybe she didn't know the proper process, but they really actually need to count up everything and compare it to the report. And if it doesn't match, they got to figure it out. We then taught her how to use correct mistakes the next day and said, if you never want to come in here again, don't make mistakes. It's terrible that I scare people that way, but let's face it, oops is not a fun thing to use when you're first getting to use the system. All right, no votes on my how are people using the payment reconciliation report. Everyone's gone home. I guess it's lunch is over. All right. Each front desk should have their own money drawer. How do you know who made a mistake? Too many offices, it's like one desk drawer and everything goes in there. I also had an office where um, the front desk person had an envelope, it was just a paper envelope, sitting behind their monitor, which is right on the other side of the front desk. I'm like, oh my God, what are you thinking? It was like I'm short, right? Short arms. I could have reached over and grabbed that if I saw that she had put money there. Don't put it where it's accessible. It should be in a drawer that nobody can easily get to, except for your staff, obviously. No downtime at the front desk. Okay. They should, things are slow, when things were slow at the beginning of this, they should have been calling patients overdue for anything and everything to get those patients in. I think we told you guys this a lot at the beginning of the pandemics, midway through it. So I don't think I have to talk about it again. But if they're not busy, have them do recall practice in New Mexico. The practice administrator will hand out recall lists to his front desk, and when they have downtime, after all the patients have checked in and they have nothing to do, they will go through that list and they will call and they'll find out phone numbers disconnected or no longer works. They don't schedule, they move away, whatever reason, they'll go through, update the system and update the little piece of paper, hand it back to the practice administrator, and he gives them a little gift card to say thanks. Okay. I interestingly got a lot of pushback from when I did this at the AAPC about giving people incentives for doing their job, and I'm like, well, there's a difference between doing your job and doing your job really well. I mean, you're paying them to do their job. Incentives just encourage them to do their job really, really well. So I'm actually almost done with my presentation here. Look at that. Oversight, track how much recall they're doing. Again, track the copay collection rate. If you guys aren't using the copay collection ratio report, find it in SRS, run it every Monday to see what they did the last week. Make sure their numbers are 95% or higher. I am particular. If you want to know what a good copay collection rate is, it's 100%. That's a great one. And they should be striving for 100%, but minimum should be 95%. And it's amazing how one missed copay can drop that number down. Again, that's why you're having them track why somebody didn't pay a copay, so they can learn the skills they need to collect that money in the future. All right. Also track what they're paying for past due balances. Set goals, reward the staff. I'm not talking about $100 Visa card, okay? Every week. I'm talking about get them some lunch. Don't do pizza. Okay, unless you have really good pizza in your area, then do pizza if your staff really likes some pizza place. But get them a lunch, Hey, so you guys are at 85% for the copay collection rate this past month. I want you to hit 90%. If you can hit 90% for an entire month, 4 weeks in a row, I'm going to get you guys lunch. All right, something simple. Or I'm going to get you tickets to the movies if they ever open the movie theaters again. We have the drive-in open. It's all good. So think of it. And it's also, it doesn't have to necessarily be monetary. If you have meetings for the practice, you can shout out to the front desk. They get 90% collection rate on copays and outstanding balances at the front desk last month. That's fantastic. All right. So sometimes all it takes is a shout out. All right. So I told you I was almost done. So here's the review. Here's what we talked about. All right. Goals for the front desk, great customer service, telephones, keeping them busy, and oversight. And we also talked about what happens before the visit, the scheduling, the appointment verification, the eligibility, the billing department prep, and what happens at visit, and what happened at the visit again. I guess I couldn't fit it all on one slide. And then here's my reference list. This is where my quote came from. It was right there. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to throw them on the live session channel of the UC chat. And I will answer them. I haven't seen any questions. I've seen you guys answering my polls, but I haven't seen any questions.
No, I have not either. You make my job way too easy, Lynn. There's not been anything that you have. Don't be. My goodness, no. But I've been paying close attention, and I don't see any questions you haven't addressed either in the polls or in your content.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Then I think our job here is done, Jan.
It may very well be. Well done, woman.
Go back on vacation. It's all good. Thanks to people that showed up.
That's awesome. And you had way more than the 5 that were interacting with you. The YouTube numbers were multiples of that.
Oh, you guys.
It's just people being shy.
Don't want to talk to me. I get it.
Hey, you yell. I've heard you do it. You admitted you do it.
I do it.
I do it. You get good results, though.
I miss being able to look somebody in the eye and say, "What do you mean you're still using partner check-in?"
I've watched it. Yeah, having co-taught with you, I have been witness to you wandering into the audience to confront people about their choices. And
what do you mean you're storing credit cards in partner?
Yeah,
and not just the last 4 numbers. Oh my God! They stopped doing that. The practice that was doing that stopped doing that. Thank God.
Good. Well, this is all awesome stuff, even if people don't ask questions about it. Thank you very much for doing it. So with that, unless you've got any final points, Lynn, I think we're going to say a fond goodbye.
No, I'm all good. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Enjoy the rest of your vacation, Lynn.